Hey, what's up? Travel Chronicles. Happy New Year, 2025. So, start off this year. Some stuff happened there on New Year's Day. There was an attack in New Orleans. A guy took a truck and just drove it down the street. It looks like there may have been a couple of incendiary devices in the truck that didn't go off, thankfully. And then there was another truck in Las Vegas that drove up to the Trump Hotel, Cybertruck, coincidentally, and blew itself up. Now, the only casualty I think that's confirmed of the one in Las Vegas was the driver of the truck. Some people injured. I don't know if anybody else has succumbed to injuries after that. Hope not. Hope people hang in. I'm not sure what the final death toll was in New Orleans. I think it was in the teens to start with. Not sure, like I said, if anybody else has succumbed to injuries since then. I'm sure there's some people who are in pretty bad shape, even if they weren't killed, that were left there in the aftermath. But, the whole thing kind of got me thinking, one, there's some people that are trying to connect the dots. I guess both guys, they were both former military. One was something Jabbar, born and raised in the U.S., but I don't know if he was converted Islamist. It seems like he may have had an ISIS flag on the back of his truck. Not sure. In the one video, there's no flag on the back of the truck, and then the pictures of the truck sitting there's a flag. So, was it there? Was it a plant afterwards? Very odd situation. The guy in Las Vegas didn't have an Islamic name. I'm not saying he wasn't. They were at the same base, Fort Bragg, I guess, at one point. I don't know if there's anything there or not. It's just, the whole thing kind of got me thinking, though, is like, what's the point? Like, what are you doing? Like, both people are dead that tried to do this. So, it's like you sacrifice yourself. The one guy only killed himself. The other guy took out, some people and then got killed by the police. But what's the end? The end game is you're going to die. Like, you're willing to, kill yourself. Is this, something because they were former military? Is it something they were going through? It's like, I want to take as many people out as I can, and it's just, what a sad situation that we're in. One, that apparently we can't figure out that, these people are in a vulnerable spot and we can't protect them. There were police barriers up. This guy just drove right around it. And it's like, well, we're fixing the bollards for the Super Bowl so that somebody can't do that then. It's like, maybe you should have had them fixed before New Year's, and Christmas. Just a thought. Plan your work accordingly. You might want to have that done by then. Especially if it's going to be a large gathering area. Put something temporary in place. Park a daggone tank there. Something that somebody just can't drive around. But, situations like that, they're like, the worst, I think, mass killing in the U.S. was still that Las Vegas shooting, which you don't hear a ton about, where a guy just sat up in a hotel room. There was a concert across the street, a couple thousand people there, and he's just shooting into the crowd. He killed like 70-some people, plus injuries and everything else. And it's just like, what's the point? It took like 3 or 4 days. It's like you just wanted to kill a bunch of people at one time. And if this is something that's, I don't know if ISIS claimed credit for this, if they're trying to claim credit for this, if it was something that was, motivated by terrorists. What are you doing? You killed 30 people that are just randoms. It's not targeted in any way, shape, or form. You didn't take anybody out from the government. You didn't take anybody out in charge. You took out like young people, like some kids. just don't understand what that motivation is to want to do something like that. Like, even if you think those people are the worst people in the world, what good did you do? What good did you do there? You know, I think the saying is you cut the head off of a snake, then, you know, another one pops up, 5 more take its place, you know, something like that. And to me, that's kind of what the mentality is for these random crimes. If you think you did something and you took out some people, you didn't, whatever the problem was, you didn't stop it, you didn't correct it. You know, if you think it's a religious problem, then, like, you have to teach people through your religion, like, how to become that way. Like, you want to bring people into your religion. You don't want to just kill people because they're not in your religion. Like, you'll never get it done, and then you're going to turn everybody else that's not in there, like, completely against you and want to kill you. You know, so this is, like I said, what's the end game? What's the plan here at the end? Even some terrorist wants to stand up and say, yep, we did that. What did you do? Like, what did you do? And it's even the Hamas stuff in Israel, where they've been fighting with Israel over Gaza. Okay, they did something in October, like 2 years ago, and then Israel came back and was attacking them. And it's just like, what good did you think you did? You know? At some point, you just got to get along. Like, are you trying to get control over Israel? Like, we're going to take over Israel. We're going to take over that land. Why? Why? What do you want? What do you want there? There's a guy that killed these people in New Orleans. It's like, why? What did you get? Nothing. I just shake my head. I don't get it. You know. And I started my blog when I started it to kind of respond in the real time when, you know, these things were happening. You know, it was a terrible tragedy, like the Virginia Tech shooter. He went in there and he killed, you know, a certain amount of people. But I mean, he kind of had a motivation. Like, this guy didn't leave anything behind. There's no motivation. There's no signs of what he did. Like, he didn't. I mean, maybe he did. They just haven't brought it out yet. He does all updated, but I just, you know, carrying out orders, just being a good soldier for you're fighting somebody else's battle now. Like, do you get to this point on your own where it's like, hey, you know what? I think I'm isolated from everybody, but I think the best thing I can do is drive a truck into New Orleans. Like, that's my best option. Is just to go down there and just see if I can hit a bunch of people. Like, nobody's coming to that conclusion on their own. Like, that's not something that somebody just arrives at just sitting in a room thinking that this is what I need to do. That's not what happens. You know, was it led that way? Did somebody control him? Was it drugged? You know, there's all kinds of things that it could be. But the bottom line is, why? Why? Who gains something from this? You're not taking out powerful people doing something like this. You're just, you know, we're taking out each other. We're taking out, you know, brothers and sisters. It doesn't matter if you're in a different religion. We're all at the same level. We're all at the very bottom of this thing. You know, when that assassin came down and took out the CEO of United Healthcare, it's like, okay, there's, you know, some motivation here. There's somebody put some work in here. I don't know that we know the full story there. I don't know that we ever will, but it was something that, okay, this kind of makes sense. Yeah, even if he was, you know, severely hurt, UHC's done some bad stuff. This guy sold off all of his stock, was making a ton of money, and you know, probably letting other people essentially get killed or take the blame for people dying because they're not following through with their claims. And it's like, okay, I get that. Like just turning the truck down an alley in New Orleans and driving over people, I don't get that. Like, what have you accomplished? It's dumb. I don't know how to combat that either. You know, I don't know what you do to fix that. And it's like, oh, we have to go out and we have to kill them now because they're trying to kill us. That doesn't seem like the answer. It's like, well, if you show mercy, then they're going to kill you. Well, I could see that, but I don't know. It's just a sad state, you know. What if you wanted to go down there and do that at some point? What if you want to go down there and celebrate? Like, now you got to vet all the security, you know, stanchions yourself. It's like, oh, are the bollops up? Is that car parked where somebody can't drive through here, or somebody's not going to throw, you know, some type of incendiary device down here and get all of us? It's like, I don't know if I want to celebrate here. Okay. You know, and this other stuff has happened. You know, you had the Boston Marathon bombing, you know, all the school shootings and stuff. You had the guy that shot up the movie theater. It's just, there has to be a link. One, that people that are willing to do something like this in the first place, because I don't know how you get to that point where it's just like, yeah, I'm just gonna take out as many people as I can. You know, somebody that wants revenge, that's targeting an individual or a group, okay, I get that. But this isn't a group. This wasn't an individual. This was just random people, just because. And if somebody's willing to die for that, you have to believe it's a cause that they were brought into. You know, this isn't some random thing that somebody just figured out to do. There's something else going on here. And I don't know if we get to the bottom of it. X is kind of taking a turn. I don't want to say it's censored anymore, but it's there's some people that got demonetized for the way they were talking back to Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy. See, like, Ramaswamy posted something where he wanted people to get out there and work and do stuff, and it's like, you got to be doing something every day, every second of every day. If you're not doing that, it's almost like you're a waste of space and you're lazy. And I used to be in that mold of, let's go get it, let's figure this out, let's learn this, and here's the thing. Eventually, there's a feedback loop, right? So if you're doing that and you're getting the feedback that, yes, this is beneficial for you, yes, here's more money, yes, here's increased responsibility so that you can earn more in the future, you know, and you have this repeating cycle that is giving you the positive feedback. You have the positive feedback loop. Then you continue in that cycle. It's when the negative feedback loop hits, then you have to make a decision. Because at that point, the only thing you have here that is of any consequence is your time. That is it. It is your time. And that's what makes these crimes kind of just, you know, make me, you know, blows my mind, because it's like you're killing yourself, so you're ending your time. And now you're taking these other people out. Like, there could have been somebody there that was going to cure cancer, and it's like you just drove over them. Like, good job. But when you encounter this negative feedback loop, right, where it's like, all right, I'm in it, I'm learning stuff, I'm sacrificing my time, I'm doing what I need to do, I'm going wherever I have to go for work, and work comes back and it's like, man, we're not going to reward you for that. Man, we're not going to give you any more money for what you're doing. And it's like, what? Well, what am I doing? Right? And that's the situation that I was in. It was like, okay, I should be the next up for plant manager now. You know, I've done everything, you know, that I could do. You know, model employee. I know the process inside and out. You know, it should be me. And it's like, no, we're going to bring somebody from a different country in and let them run the plant. Even though it's a lateral move. It's just a straight lateral move for them. It's not even somebody like being promoted up to plant manager from another spot. And you see that, and it's like, well, where am I going to go? What's my path? Like, I have no path. And, it's a killer. It's a killer for motivation. And, I think these young people are seeing, I don't want to say influencers and, people that have done it, the easy way, but like, you got to do something as a profession that you enjoy, one that you're willing to learn at, one that you find interesting. You've got to do something like that. If you don't find the job interesting or fulfilling or something like that, and you're just putting your time in, then you're going to wait until you find something better. And the effort that you put forward is not going to be great. I'm sorry, it's not. Then you find something good, then you're, okay, yeah, let me put more effort in to see if I can get it. But once you realize what the end is, that, yeah, you're not going to be plant manager, you're not going to be CEO, you're not going to be an executive, you're just going to be a piece for somebody else. And it's like, well, I really need to work on myself, physically, mentally, whatever it takes, because I'm not going to kill myself for a company or an individual or a leadership group that I'm never going to benefit fully from. That's where the mentality is. And I don't blame young people for good for them for realizing it, 20 years before I did. And it's, Vivek is still in that positive feedback loop stage. He hasn't had the negative feedback, and it's like, oh, just outwork people. Okay, to a point. But if you don't get the payoff, then at some point you got to cut bait, and refocus on something that does matter, on something where you can benefit yourself, or something where you can see gains in yourself on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. So, all right, well, that's all I got. I know I didn't solve anything today, but I don't know how to solve it. I'm just putting the questions out there. I feel super bad for all the people that were injured, killed in that. I don't know why somebody would do something like that. But that's what our government needs to focus on, is like figuring out why people are doing that, and figure out how to stop those people. All right, well, that's all I got for today. Be careful. Be COVID free. Later.